Hey everyone, this is Nick from Mecha Warehouse, and today we're back with weekly update number 50. I saw that number this morning when I was getting everything ready, and I was like, "Holy crap, 50! That's a lot." So that means 52, i.e., a whole year of doing these weekly updates consistently, is a couple weeks away. So maybe we'll do something sort of special. We'll see. I'll have to figure out what we might do, but. That's crazy that we've done a year of these. But with all that said, let's get into it and start off with week in review. This is where I talk about what's been going on this week and is coming up here at Mecha Warehouse. So I guess the first thing to kind of talk about, if you haven't already noticed, is that our confirmations for what we're going to get for the end of this year, Q4, hasn't shown up yet. It's Thursday morning. I was promised early last week. Then I was promised Wednesday. When I asked about it yesterday, it was supposed to come in yesterday, or at least part of it yesterday. I still haven't received any of that yet. So if you haven't seen any pre-orders yet for new Bandai stuff, that is why. Basically, we just don't know what we're going to get yet, what kind of numbers, etc. And without that information, we can't post our pre-orders, and it's hard to do a lot of things. We're supposed to be placing our order for Q1, i.e. January through March of next year, and having information like what we're going to get over the next few months would be very valuable information going into that process with that deadline looming, because if I've got a lot of something coming this year, I don't necessarily need as many of them early next year. And it's going to make that whole ordering process maybe riskier, I guess is the right way of saying it. Just not knowing what's going to come or not come, I'm going to have to make some harder decisions than if I had all the information on the table. But all that stuff should hopefully be resolved soon. It's kind of resulted in this week being an extremely stressful week so far, kind of just waiting for all that to come together all at once and doing as much prep work as we can, so that way when we do get it, we're ready to go. But it's just been a lot of stuff. Adding up to make that even worse is that Orion ended up calling in sick basically for the end of this week. Sick might not be the wrong thing, but he had a medical thing come up, unable to work, and as a result, I ended up packing orders on Wednesday. Thankfully, Dylan could make it in this morning. He'll be in right after we finish shooting this video to help cover for Orion today. But just adding insult to injury, just being buried as it is and having a fairly busy week. And now we've got other crises on top of that. So it's made for a stressful week. My anxiety level this morning is at like an all-time's not fair, but a definitely really high level, just dealing with all the stuff that's going on, and that's definitely not the fun part of running a business. The other relatively big change around here is, I think it was early this week, late last week, I forget what day it came in. We got in a taller step ladder, or step stairs, I guess. It's so we can access the top of the shelves. We've had a small one. We've got one that's a lot higher, which lets us now stack stuff on top of the shelves a lot higher when it comes to backup stock, which should hopefully give us a little bit more useful life of the warehouse here. Things are definitely filling up, as I've kind of talked about. We're pursuing strategies to make the space work as long as we can before we need to, move to a bigger space or find another way to add more space. And so the ladder's part of it. We've moved a bunch of stuff up. Things look a little bit more spacious up top. I think we've got a few more things we could do up top to make room. Now I got to worry about the shelves and trying to clear out things that don't move very fast, and condense, things that are low stock items to make space for when we start receiving our big orders for the fall. And then the final topic is that one of the things that we're going to be trying to do content-wise over the next month or two is increase our production of TikTok or TikToks, I guess, more videos, an uptick of TikTok. And in doing that, if you are a TikTok user, I think you can go to our profile. It should be like at Mecha Warehouse. There's a Q&A section. And so if you ask a question there, I know we do the Q&A in our weekly update videos, but if you ask a question on TikTok, we plan on answering it on TikTok in, a really short form kind of way. It could be for me, it could be for anyone else in the warehouse, and I'm sure we'll weed out ones that don't make sense or whatever. But if you happen to be on TikTok, give us a follow, ask a question over there, and I'm going to try to start playing with that a little bit more as the platform gains popularity and stuff. With that said, though, let's move on to the next section, which is pre-orders. So I had kind of promised last week we'd have Bandai pre-orders this week. We do not, because I don't know what I'm getting yet with any sort of certainty. But we did add basically 4 pre-orders. We got the frame arms Griffin and Griffin armor parts, which I think is just an add-on set for the Griffin, I believe, if I understand correctly. I didn't read the product descriptions before this, so if I'm wrong, that's why. And we also added some Converge, the 10th anniversary selection 1. Looks like it's Barbatos, Gyan, Zuda Unit 1, Zuda Unit 2 or 3, Gundam Mark 2, and the Sazabi. So if you're into Converge, the little kind of pre-made SD-ish kind of figures, check those out. Same thing if you're into frame arms, jump on there and grab yourself a frame arms, because that would be pretty cool. Now the fun part for this week, let's move on to restocks. We got a ton of restocks in, a few really interesting, really popular kits, a couple new releases, and tons of Ava stuff. So why don't we start off with Ava? So we got almost, I don't want to say we got everything from the high-grade Ava lines, but we got a lot, as well as the perfect grade Ava. So let's start with that since it's big and it's on top. Perfect grade Ava, this is one of the first perfect grades to get made. It's the only perfect grade Ava. This is 1998, so it's an older kit. If you like Evangelion and you like perfect grades, then that's a perfect thing for you to grab. We also got a bunch of Ava high grades, like I mentioned. These are going to be in no particular order because just how I stack them. Some of these are LM high grades, which I believe stands for limited model. Not sure what that means. There's several versions of each suit in the pile here. There's several Ava 1 test types. There's several, I want to say there's several of the Unit 0, the prototype, as well as some of the other designs. A few of these I think don't have real grades yet, so I'm sure the articulation and detail don't match up to the real grades, but they're probably a less expensive option if you are a big Ava fan and want to have them or customize them. Might be a good option for that. And I've got a couple more here. So this is basically like Ava week here at Mecha Warehouse. Tons of Evangelion. Haven't seen a lot of these kits in maybe a year or two. I don't know how frequently they get done. I think they're older kits in general. But if that's something you're into, you should check them out while we have them. Moving on, though, we do have a new entry grade. This is the entry grade Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku. So we got that. We've got the LED unit for the PG Unicorn. So if you've managed to grab a PG Unicorn in the past, it'd be a good time to grab one of those. Let's talk about new releases. We got two brand new releases this week. The first of the new Mandalorian kits. This is the Razor Crest silver coating version. We do have the non-coated version coming, as well as the Mandalorian figures coming as well. If you're into Mandalorian, might be a cool little build to put on your desk. And with the silver coating version, it's kind of a no paint done for you. Should hopefully look pretty good. The other new release we got is the new imaginary skeleton Tyrannosaurus Rex. Or I guess just says Tyrannosaurus on it. We don't have a ton of these. I have a feeling those are going to sell out super fast because we underestimated how popular they'd be. The pre-orders sold out, I believe, before we got them in, so the remaining stock will go pretty quick as well, I suspect. Real grade RX-78, the OG right there. The real grade new Gundam, always a popular kit. We got an okay amount of these in, but not a ton. So if you're interested in that kit, I wouldn't wait super long. We also got 2 one-piece kits this week. The one-piece Going Merry and the one-piece Thousand Sunny. So we got the Thousand Sunny and the Going Merry. So never really watched One Piece either, but those have been fairly popular kits and worth checking out. We got a bunch of 30-minute mission stuff in. Alto Dark Gray, Alto White, Alto Red, and option weapons for, this is for Porta Nova, option weapons for Seal Nova. I've used this set. This axe is pretty cool. I believe there's some more 30-minute mission stuff in the mix this week as well that I didn't grab, I think, so worth checking out. We also got a few different tools and accessories, some notable ones for this week. A leather case for Nipper. I think this is Mr.hobby product, so kind of like a Nipper cover, but bigger. Covers more of the Nipper than the normal ones. The Mr. Craft knife, just another hobby knife. New to the shop, we also got Mr. Masking Solution and Mr. Masking Solution Neo. I don't remember what the differences are in these two products, but they are masking solutions, i.e. you can essentially spread them on a part where you don't want the paint to go, spray your paint on, and then basically peel it off. So it's kind of like liquid masking tape. Might be cool for masking small details and things that would otherwise be a pain to use tape for. I haven't used it before, but worth checking out. Also, I don't have much of it pulled over here, but we did get another gun primer restock. There are a few items that they didn't have available that are going to be coming hopefully next week. A little bit delayed, but the one new item that we have from them is the GP Scriber, which is really interesting product, and I feel like it's worth talking about. You can't really tell from looking at this image, but basically it's one of their scribing templates, a mechanical pencil, and then the scriber itself. And so what these scribers are is they're basically like a 0.3 millimeter, looks almost like a pencil lead, but it's got a chisel tip. And the idea is that you can stick it in any 0.3 millimeter mechanical pencil and essentially create a small panel line scribing tool for scribing 0.2 millimeter panel lines. So it comes with that pencil, but it's kind of a really interesting idea. I don't know that you would use it for heavy duty like chiseling kind of stuff, but if you're just dragging lines on and trying to create detail, it's kind of a cool idea and almost like a good like pocket scriber that you could put into a toolkit or something. I don't think we got a ton of these in. I'm not sure how well they'll do since they're I believe a new product. Definitely new to Mecha Warehouse, but worth looking at the product description and investigating for yourself. If there is interest and they sell fast, we will get a ton more for next time. And gun primer stuff's been fairly easy to restock, so we will likely restock again in the near future when it makes sense. So that's it for restocks this week. Let's move on to Q&A. So just a reminder, Q&A, this is where I answer questions from you, the viewer. If you have a question about Gunpla, about Mecha Warehouse, about myself, about just about anything, please post it down in the comments below and I'll do my best to address it next week. We got 2 questions in this week. First one is from Peng Jiang. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, or at least close to right. And he says, "Hi Nick, really enjoy the weekly update. I just ordered a lot of stuff from your store. I have 2 questions for the paint stock. 1, why 10 milliliter mini Tamiya paint is the only option to choose from? What about the 23 milliliter option in the future? And is that possible that you'll stock the new Mr.hobby acrylic, aka the ACRYSION, which starts with the letter N?" So both of these are great questions. So number 1, the 10 milliliter versus 23 milliliter. When we first started, it was a matter of we only had a limited amount of space, a limited amount of resources. Which options were likely to be the most popular for our customers? What made sense to stock first? 10 milliliter made sense. I think most people buy in 10 milliliter, especially for the Tamiya paints, because you might only need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Obviously, for really popular colors and colors that people use a lot of, the 23 milliliter might make a lot more sense, might be a little bit more cost effective. And so it's definitely something that we'll be considering in the future. It comes down to space, capital, and time. And this is basically for any of these paints that we want to stock. They're going to require a certain amount of space to put a paint rack in and to stock excess quantities of it on the shelf somewhere. It's going to take money to buy that stuff. How quickly will the investment in those products be returned? When will I get the cash back to buy more or buy other stuff? And then time, where it takes a lot of time to build product listings, to go through and order all of those individual paints. And all 3 of those things have been short as of late. We don't have a lot of space in the warehouse. I'm super busy and haven't had much time for anything, which will hopefully get changed once we get this new hire in. And finally, cash, especially with the size of our orders going forward. I have to see what we're getting for the fall and early winter. But if we're getting anywhere close to what we ordered, we're going to be pretty much tapped out in terms of resources and be having trouble adding new lines for at least a few months while we kind of normalize to that new level. As for the second question, the ACRYSION is definitely something that we'll be interested in getting in stock. Same 3 factors apply. We'll need a place to put it. We need the money. We need the time to do all the research and get it in, build listings, etc. So a lot of the new paints will come at some point. We got to get through I think the winter kind of rush, and then maybe early next year, especially if we can figure out growing to a larger space, we can look at carrying more paint lines. But excellent question, Peng. Thank you for that. And the second question is from GunplaJunkie. He says, question for next week: aside from mobile suit designs that you think should have kits, is there a product or type of kit you wish Bandai or any other manufacturer would produce, or a product line you'd like to see them expand? So this is another great question. As far as kits, I feel like we all have kits that we wish they'd make. For me, the top ones would be like a master grade Leo, high grade Aries, high grade Virgo. A lot of the wing grunts, I think, need more love in the Gunpla lineup. But that's kind of the party set aside from. So as far as kits or types of products, I think a lot of stuff is well represented. I'm trying to think what specifically. I know in terms of types of kits, I would love to see more stuff that supports dioramas coming from Bandai. They've made some little scale figure sets in the past. I'd love to see those reprinted. I'd love to see more of that kind of stuff. I'd love to see more of the action base kind of stuff that they're doing with the 30-minute missions line, like the city scene and the hangar and stuff like that. I would love to see them do that, but maybe on a more detailed and more solid level, because I think that stuff's really cool. It really makes kits shine, and I think that stuff all does well. If you think about the Kotobukiya chain bases, those are super popular. I feel like they're never in stock anywhere. If Kotobukiya ever makes them again, I would buy a ton of them because they're just really cool. It'd be nice to have them, and I'm sure other people want them too. And I just love to see more products like that on the market, because I think there's like a need and a niche there, and that they would do really well, especially if they're an easy button way to make your kits look cool and set up displays and things like that. So I think that would be the main thing. I'm sure there's a few other series that I would love to see kits from that aren't necessarily like Gundam or other traditional mecha stuff either. I can't think of any of them off the top of my head. I think like Flame Toys should do like an exosuits thing. I don't know if Bandai should, but like Flame Toys seems to be doing Transformers, and they're starting to do G.I. Joe, and like I feel like all the childhood stuff that was cool that wasn't Gundam. So exosuits would be cool. I'm sure like Mech Warrior, Star Siege, Earth Siege, all those kind of designs would be really cool to see some sort of kit for. And I'm sure there's a ton I'm missing, but more variety is always cool, especially if the designs were cool and the execution is done right. So I think that's all I got for questions this week. Feels like this video is running on the long side, so I'll wrap it up. But if you have a question, again, post it down in the comments below. I'd love to answer it next week. Thank you all for watching, and catch you next week. Later.